Hi everyone, my name is Steve, and this is Strezobyte, a channel focused on awesome technology. In this video series, we are working on this PC that you see behind me, themed after D.Va from Overwatch. This powerhouse workstation and gaming PC is powered by a Ryzen R7 1700X and two NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080 Ti's, both running in a custom water-cooled loop. And it's taken a while for us to get to this point, but I can finally say that this machine is fully working and operational. We filled up the loop, we installed Windows, we got games up and running, everything is running great. And if we're going to build a powerhouse system like this, it's not enough to just install the components. I really want to make this machine my own and make it something special. And that's what we're doing in this episode. We're going to be taking a bunch of parts and doing a bunch of different customizations and mods to them to really make this machine look just freaking amazing. If you look in the case right now, you'll see the first of our customizations, a custom sleeved 24-pin cable extension for our motherboard power supply cable, and we've got a bunch of other mods coming in as well, but I don't want to spoil the surprise. And now without further ado, it's time to finish this beast. Let's get building.
Open wounds and closing doors. Been here before, not again. We cannot hide our nasty scars. Too many sorries. What would happen now if you say you won't know if you walk away? Only heaven will play our song now before you go. Can you tell me where the hope has gone? Can you tell me where the love went wrong? Do you remember what it sounds like? We can turn the love back on. We can turn the love back on. We can turn the love back on. Power's out, the truth unfolds. Our naked souls, once again, can make us work with broken parts and silent heartbeats. What would happen now if you say you won't know if you walk away? Only heaven will play our song now before you go. Can you tell me where the hope has gone? Can you tell me where the love went wrong? Do you remember what it sounds like? We can turn the love back on. 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 We can turn the love We can turn the love back on. We can turn the love back on. We can turn the love back on.
Well everyone, I can finally say it. D.Va is done. Well, as done as the first version of any PC build is. But for now, it's playing games, it's running productivity apps, and it's looking pretty amazing. So I said we'd be doing some mods, and this is the first time I've done anything like this, so let's take a look at what went right and what went wrong. First thing we did is spray painted the trim of the case along with the PCI tray covers in this light blue color. Now, this turned out okay, but we did have some masking problems along the way. I masked it all down with masking tape ahead of time along with masking paper, but some of the masking tape came off before the painting happened, so some areas didn't get covered as much and some areas got covered that weren't supposed to. So there's a little bit of mess there and I tried to clean it up, but overall that blue color adds a lot of the aesthetic to the build that we were looking for. Next we added some cable extensions that I bought from Cable Mod that came in this nice blue, pink, black, and white color scheme. I tied those down with the cable combs as best I could, and it turned out pretty much okay. It's still a little sloppy and I do want to touch it up in the future. Maybe get some wider combs to help keep those in line. I also added LED strips along the top and the front to help illuminate the insides. The fluid that we're using is UV reactive and I got UV lights to go on the inside. That helps really make the color stand out, especially in the dark. To help with the upside down text problem in the inverted layout, I added this vinyl decal of the Mecha logo to the power supply. I vectored this out in Photoshop and then sent it off to a local FedEx Kinko's for printing. They have a minimum size requirement which is a little bit bigger, so I ended up with a lot extra, which is all the better because, if I made mistakes then I would be able to fix them. So we've got that D.Va aesthetic pretty much down, I think, with the blue trim around the edges, the blue in the PCI tray covers, the blue fittings, and then of course that bright pink fluid that is coursing through the system that some of my friends have taken to calling the Pepto-Bismol fluid. The inverted layout helped a lot too. You can really see it, especially through the tops of the GPU blocks. In a normal layout, these would be facing down, but in this layout, they're facing up, and it looks really cool because you can just see more of that color shine through. But perhaps my favorite of all the customizations that we did to this case is sitting on the front door, which has been signed by Charlotte Chung, the voice actor for D.Va. If you've watched the series from the beginning, you may remember that I didn't put the door back on the case when I inverted it. The reason for that is simple. The door was down in LA for Anime Expo 2017, where Charlotte Chung was a guest of honor, and I added one other thing to the case as well. 2 LED strips along the bottom of the case provide this beautiful underglow effect. Now unfortunately, while the LED strips in the case are powered off of Gigabyte's Aorus feature that's connected to the motherboard, the 2 LED strips underneath the case are actually connected to the case itself, which is a feature of the Darkbase Pro 900, which means they don't work in sync. That's something I'd love to be able to rectify in the future, but it still looks pretty good for now. So all in all, this case was pretty nice to work with one exception, and that is cable management. Getting all the cables to fit in the case and make it still look good was a real challenge, and that means if you're not very careful and deliberate with your cable management, you're going to see cables poking through. And even though I did a pretty good job at hiding everything, there's still a little bit of a rat's nest in the bottom, and that's kind of unavoidable. One way they could have addressed this is by making the case a little bit wider to accommodate more cables in the back. In a really large case like this, that's not a big deal. But in the end, we got everything in there, and it still looks really good. So that's it for this build. I am so relieved that after 2-3 months, something like that, this build is finally ready. I can finally replace my 2.5-year-old PC with it, and it looks amazing, and I just couldn't be happier with the result. But of course, we got more stuff coming along with this build. First thing I'm going to be doing is overclocking everything and seeing what kind of results we can get in a bunch of different games when you run a Ryzen R7 processor along with 2 1080 Ti's and SLI. We've already got the processor up to 3.9 GHz, no problem. The 1080 Ti's are about to be overclocked next. So make sure you're subscribed so that you can get all of those videos about this build, along with new builds that I'm going to do in the future, such as taking this machine I've got right now and repurposing it into a living room PC. And I do want to do more awesome builds like this in the future too, so make sure you're subscribed for that. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.